Good evening, Nations Corner family, friends and fans. John in South Jersey, joined by not so usual cast of characters of the Nations Corner crew, and welcome to yet another edition of Nations Corner live on a Saturday. And we all know that Saturday night is all right for fighting. Joining me, as usual, but not as usual, but unusual, always, all the way out, courtesy of the Long Island Expressway in Monrovia. Mike, what's up, brother? And you're muted yet again.
There we go. What's up, my friend?
There he is.
Been a busy week, man.
Sure has. And as always, coming in from the bullpen, play that wild thing music for Mr. Clutch, Mr. Our number one reliever. He is the one, the only, the host.
Acknowledge him.
Of our nation's sports show. You can hear live here every Tuesday, Mr. Stephen Wyan. What's up, Steve?
What is going on, everybody? A little Hetfield, yeah. There you go. Yeah, thanks for having me on again, guys, to talk a little bit of professional wrestling. Let's do this.
That's right. RASS, that's wrestling.
That's wrestling.
God damn, I hate Jay Hood and LeVar for that. Anyway, I mean, you know, we sit here, guys, every time before we do the show, and we're like, I don't know, man. What are we going to talk about? I had no idea what's going on or what we can do or what possibly.
What's going on? I don't know.
A lot of things. There are lots of things going on this week, absolutely. But man.
Let's just shout out. First of all, we got a few people in here already. Shout out to Billy Doyle. What's up, Billy?
Okay.
How's it going? Madback Davis is in here for a bit, but you know he's a busy guy, man. What's up, Madback? How you doing? Mark's in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Double or Nothing last week in Vegas.
Yeah, Double or Nothing, and
Mark's with our hashtag Nations Corner on location out of Double or Nothing, having a good time in Viva Las Vegas. Thank you, everybody, for
representing all over the place.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming in and joining us tonight. Make sure you get your questions and comments in as we go along with the show. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe, and let us know where you're at and where you're listening. But all right, first thing I want to talk about, because there is a lot, but one thing I want to get into very quick is we had a very interesting Tuesday night on NXT. Besides being a great show and doing what NXT does, especially coming out of WrestleMania and stuff like that, and new stories, new things. We have this Battleground pay-per-view coming up live from the Apex in Las Vegas, the UFC Apex, which in itself was very cool, and getting some matches out of that. But we had one match in particular announced that took everybody, and as we learned from Busted Open earlier this week, even the NXT Women's Champion by complete surprise as to who her opponent is going to be at Battleground. And who is that person? Who? How about the TNA Knockouts champion, the Juggernaut, Thick Mama Pump herself, Jordan Grace, came on to NXT into the ring wearing her TNA Knockouts title, saying, "I am challenging you, Roxanne Perez, for your title." A fully, and of course censored because it's USA and they suck, a fully holy shit chant broke out in that NXT arena. You heard TNA chants in that arena. Wow. And especially it being Jordan Grace, especially after her Royal Rumble appearance and the ovation and reaction she got from that. This is another yet big I hate to say the word game changer, but it kind of is. And the fact that, seeing Jordan Grace before in the Rumble, okay, that's a cool one-off thing. This is taking that to the next step and very seriously opens up discussion that we had not had with WWE before about working with, and Triple H has said on several media scrums and interviews and stuff, they want to start reaching out and working with other promotion companies.
We may have brought it up. But everybody always agreed in the past that it'll never happen. Right. We've always talked about, we always fantasy booked somebody from WWE with somebody outside of WWE. Mm-hmm. But we always said it's not realistic. It'll never happen.
But with Triple H, it's very realistic.
Yeah, now we can't say that'll never happen because things are happening. I think they piqued our interest when, excuse me, when they let Mickie James, who it's understandable that they got Mickie James to enter the Royal Rumble, but come out as the time the Impact Knockouts champion,
right?
And that really opened the door. But like Jordan Grace being there and totally surprising everybody, and then on top of it, what we had later was just
yeah. But you're right, Steve.
We had our ice cream. Well, yeah. We had our strawberry meat filled Pop-Tart.
Yes.
And had our cherry on top too.
But yes, we did. But you're absolutely right, Stephen. It is all possible. And this, what and you can speculate wildly, as Sam Roberts tells us, about what can and can't happen. And I just afterwards that Tuesday and leading up until tonight, sure, the fans are absolutely interested in it and behind it and everything else, but also what even lends more validity to all this, you have wrestlers from both sides leaning into it. The one of the tweets I saw came from Trey Miguel, who is one half of the Rascals with Zachary Wentz in TNA, a direct tweet to Wes Lee in WWE, who is on NXT, saying we need to reunite the Rascals. There's a possibility. You have Mustafa Ali, who is the current TNA X Division champion, and Cedric Alexander tweeting back and forth over how Mustafa owes Cedric a shot, since they once fought in WWE for the 205 championship.
Yeah.
So now they have a chance to run that back. So we could probably sit here for an hour and fantasy book, who would like to see, who makes sense, who doesn't make sense, all that stuff. And I saw people saying
about Obafemi versus Moose.
True. That that's again that there is a very real possibility, and just for the fact to see those two big horses in the ring beat the hell out of each other is like, yes, please, yes, 10 times yes. But what I'm more interested in, or more about getting what you guys think about. I saw some things online and some discussions about they could have they could have Becky Lynch versus Jordan Grace, or they could and true, everything is possible, but I honestly see this more as an NXT TNA cooperation pairing, so to speak.
Can TNA be the new, since we see a whole bunch of we've seen a whole crop of old ROH alumni go to WWE, and make careers and then leave there's some in AEW now. But do you think TNA could be kind of treated as like it's a different company, but that's our kind of breeding ground to bring up to NXT and then show I think they might, because then at least when they're getting people that they're getting to cross over and come into NXT or possibly WWE, at least they know the TV way, and they have some semblance of how a TV product goes, because that's probably the biggest problem for a lot of independents.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem, transitioning to being a TV product, which is why we love Creator Pro, because Creator Pro teaches them. But you know what? A lot of these indies are on some kind of streaming service now, so they all get a rough idea. Back in the day, they didn't, and you actually had to,
I find it interesting because when you look at this, it seems like a partnership, because this is the second time in almost 6 months. Now we're in the month of June, right at 6 months now, where the WWE and TNA have done something together involving a talent in Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And having Jordynne Grace in this picture, she's a well-known star in that company. She's been there for years. And it's interesting because, I could see where you guys would say that NXT this is possibly a partnership between those two. Yeah, but I also think that possibly, who the hell knows down the line, maybe TNA, maybe some of their roster starts mingling with the main roster on Raw and
exactly.
SmackDown.
You know what I want to
It's true. It truly, like I said, we could sit here and do the what ifs in the fantasy book, but how about it? It shouldn't be lost that we're actually able and legitimately having this conversation.
It's not a dream. It could be
right.
It could actually be something that's spoken into reality. And on a flip note, it might behoove TK to sign one Scott D'Amore to kind of take over ROH for him and kind of take that off of his shoulders, so he could concentrate more on AEW. And
as we all know, Scott D'Amore knows a thing or two as far as running the show.
What do you think about that, John? I mean, I would consider you the resident ECW ROH aficionado.
Absolutely. Scott D'Amore is, regardless of Scott D'Amore could start his own organization, and it will be it might take some time, but it'll be wildly successful. Scott D'Amore absolutely is the very top at creating and producing great wrestling television. He basically has led the resurrection of Impact into now what is TNA. That is him guiding that ship to the point it's at now. So I would say I'm kind of surprised, especially with AEW, that it hasn't happened already, that Scott D'Amore has.
I'm surprised as well, because I think if you get Scott on board with AEW, I think it'll make their television product 10 times better, because Scott is so creative at coming up with stuff, and I think it would make the product way better.
Behind the paywall, and I think Scott D'Amore would be more in tune with what fans like John and Neil, real ROH fans are accustomed to having. Now, that's not saying that we haven't had that, but there has been some shenanigans with all the titles and this and that. But
and
then
the one thing we ask with AEW, be consistent. Especially like the problem that I had with Wednesday's Dynamite is the first hour. I am not going to lie. It's my opinion. If you don't like it, oh well. The first hour was rough. However, the second hour was a little bit better, because they threw the good stuff sprinkled into the second hour.
Steven, you reminded me of something. Can we go off on a little thing? This could be a clip for us. You have complaints about both products, and I think I know what both of them are. With NXT, You have Booker T on the commentary.
The commentary by Booker.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I just want to get this out and let you answer it as somebody who is blind, but it depends on total.
Oh my God, Steven's blind.
On the total hearing and explanation of the commentary and what you hear from the crowd. You put all of the sounds that you hear together and what the commentators are telling you.
Yeah.
So that paints a picture. And believe me, John, we've been there for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every pay-per-view event with our friend here.
Yeah.
And we are always amazed like how much he perceives from a live event that we're thinking you only have to see. So you have the problem with Booker T, who is a problem with a few of us. Now we love Booker T and respect him as the Hall of Famer. I love his promos and all of that, but 2 hours of them is a bit rough.
Commentary, it's atrocious.
Yes. But that he does too much stuff in the background, and then you can't concentrate on the match, and sometimes you don't know what's going on. And then with AEW, your problem is too much rapid fire stuff. There's no time to breathe. There's a lot of for lack of better terms, clusterfuck going on, and then you get you get confused, you get lost. Tell us about it, because both the products they take care of sensory, to people with different things that are on the spectrum and blind and handicapped, whatever.
Both products do a great job as far as painting a picture at home, because at the end of the day, their job is to call the matches on screen. And I would say the main roster in WWE does an excellent job on commentary these days, because they're allowed to call the matches. They're allowed to call the holds. They're not being told, oh, talk about this thing on Twitter, talk about this thing on this social media platform. They're allowed to call the matches. In AEW, they're calling the matches, but even the action at times in AEW is just so fast paced. It's like a punk rock song. It's like just boom, 3 power chords, up tempo, get on, get in, get out. And sometimes they make sense into what they do. And sometimes I think the commentators get lost too, because there's so much going on. And there's times during Dynamite, especially, where the pacing is so inconsistent, where there's times where the pacing is really good. There's times where it's not, because they're not allowing some stuff to breathe. And if you don't let things breathe, like when you do certain spots in matches, what was the reason for that happening? Because if you don't let a segment of a match breathe, it's like, okay, you're just canceling each other out.
Yeah.
And it ruins the, oh my God, this spot just happened, and then you're up on your feet. Come on. You have to sell and register and, make the move believable.
Yeah. Very, very, very good explanation, Stephen. And, because we could see whatever's going on. We could see, we could see that, so if it's going too fast, there's a lot of stuff that you miss, and
it's not that it's not that I'm really not missing it. It's not grabbing me. It's not grabbing me because the loud bodies is going, ooh, yeah, yay.
It puts you on overload, right?
Because the crowd is oohing and ahhing and all the type of stuff because they're there. And sometimes I think the audience, sometimes they get caught up in the moment, and I understand because you're there and it's live. But when you stop and look at the product that's being presented to you on television, sometimes you need to sit there and rationalize things and go, what are you giving me? Are you giving me something that makes total sense? Because in retrospect, what they did on Wednesday, some of the things they do make no sense. Like, okay, you have Swerve and Will Ospreay, who's going to be facing each other at Forbidden Door. On table, it's going to be a great match, but who the hell's going over? And from a story standpoint, it makes 0 sense.
It's going to be
And I'm sorry, I will not accept the Tommy Dreamer answer that the fans win. I will not accept that answer.
It's Swerve. Yay! All right, now it's who is it?
It's Ospreay.
Yay! Well, that's and that was discussed at length at Busted Open this week. But
it was.
It's and
I sense it will be discussed at length again soon. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm sure.
Because now you're caught up in a situation when who the hell goes over?
It gets me. You're like, no, but is he right? I mean, was Dave right? Because he goes, he's Willow Ospreay. Willow Ospreay. That would be a name. He's Willow. And then he's CEO. They're all chanting CEO. And then Sky Blue comes and beats up the person that just cheering. Hits up Mercedes. And then everyone loves it. So, I mean.
I like you. Everybody gets liked.
Yay, right. Team. We all know. Listen, we all pay our money. We're there at AEW. We're there at so we like the product. It's not the WCW going over to North Korea for a show. We're not being forced at gunpoint, marching into the stadiums and stuff or whatever. Well, so let's go.
Well, just real quick on that before we move on. Yes. I have a real big problem with now that they're teasing this and the cat's out of the bag, so obviously it's going to happen. I have a real problem with Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland conceivably as the main event of Forbidden Door. The whole idea of Forbidden Door, to me, now I might be wrong, and if anybody
was to fight someone else, sure.
Was to bring in different talent that we haven't seen. You bring in New Japan, you bring in CMLL, you bring someone in from Europe and stuff, and put them up against your talent. Your main event is your AEW champion versus your AEW champion.
So how about this?
And Will Ospreay, hang on, Mike. Will Ospreay is a contracted AEW guy, so it's not even like they're bringing New Japan Will Ospreay in, United Empire Will Ospreay in. This is a legit AEW contracted talent and champion facing your world champion as the main event. I'm sorry that it doesn't. If you need that to sell the pay-per-view, which normally is a very great pay-per-view because of the different talent that they bring in, I don't understand it.
Yeah, because when Ospreay won, at first I was like, oh my God, Swerve and Ospreay, sign me up. Then I'm after settled. Then I'm like, who the hell's gonna go over?
That's a great match. But I was thinking, what if they actually want to build up something for Wembley?
And that's another thing, Mike.
What if
you could have had Swerve versus Ospreay at all if you wanted to do that? That's fine.
Yeah,
this is too soon.
Yeah, well, check it out. Well, pardon the pun, but what if they swerve us, and Swerve is still a face, and sooner or later, I mean, Ospreay is around with Don Callis. Sooner or later, I think Ospreay's going to turn.
But it's going to be hard to hate on him because the fans love him. Like,
no, because he could. You're right. Maybe they won't, but yeah, they're all going to yay. But I know. Listen, he was a pretty well hated heel in New Japan. So, or they could both be attacked by people outside of the company saying, hey, "What the hell? You guys are AEW. We want to fight for your belts from, this is the forbidden door. Why are we forbidden from going for you after your belts?
Right.
Why do your belts get to stay in-house?"
And on a quick side note, just to prove that I may not comment, but I do read comments, go GFY, John Bay, GFY. I guess to me it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm talking to John Bay now. I understand that. You can put up what he said.
No, I said I'm not going to give it air.
I'm not
going to give it air. Nope, just GFY. That's all I'm going to say. But like I said, I don't know. And yes, I want to be excited about this stuff. I want to be excited about what's going on in AEW. I want to be excited about the talent and everything. And I am for the most part. But again, like Steven said, the inconsistencies just it makes it hard. To me, it makes it harder.
All right, now let's go the other way now and talk about one of the best storylines in AEW, and that's Toni Storm. Whatever she does is it's pure gold.
Yes,
I mean, even when she sat on the ring apron and said, "Be back in a few minutes, loves," after this commercial.
Yes. And she did it again last night on Rampage. I mean, it's taped and everything else, but
I mean, really, she's just pure. And the way it goes back and forth, black and white when you see her, and then it's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, that whole character, her development, her delivery of it, how it plays out now, I really want to say, it's kind of like, remember Mark Henry said a while back about Roman Reigns with the bloodline. It's its own gravitational pull. It's its own stars. People that get involved in this get pulled into her and become more elevated and bigger for it. And that's
Luther,
exactly
nobody gave a crap about Luther until this.
Yeah. Luther was the guy that ran around.
No disrespect to Luther. I'm not saying we didn't.
He was the one that he ran around with.
You didn't hear from him. You saw him every time was a squash match, and this.
Yes.
Now when he picks up a beat up Toni Storm and carries her away.
Carries her off. Yes.
Yeah. And Mariah May is,
Mariah May is a great addition, and again
She's doing what Mizdow did.
Yes. Yep. She is absolutely.
If you watch her, she's mimicking what Tony's doing.
Coming out to her own entrance music, the whole shindig.
Right. Yep. Now take, and Mariah May is a very good example with it. Okay. Now, Mariah May absolutely made a name for herself over in Japan and Stardom as part of Club Venus. Absolutely. Now, but again, here's a name that is not very well known to American wrestling fans in general that may or may not follow or know anything about Japanese wrestling and, or more importantly, Joshi wrestling, women's wrestling in Japan. Mariah May is a star. Mariah May is legitimate, but look how much better or how much bigger and more recognizable she's become to the AEW fans simply by being, nuzzling at the bosom of Toni Storm. Which again, it's pure gold. And everyone that works with Toni now, they're getting that rub, and there's no signs of it stopping. There's no signs of it.
Are there various different pussy scented candles?
You would have to ask Toni Storm. I believe that is her own creation. When she slaps you with a cease and desist, you'll know.
I believe her pussy scented candle would smell nice, but I don't know about some others.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to mention when
I'm not going to mention anyone else. I'm just going to say.
Well, but that again, things like that. Sorry. We know everything that she does literally has touched and turned to gold with her. And the true beauty of it is yes, currently right now she is your AEW Women's Champion.
And she's obsessed with Wendy Richter.
Well, yes, and she declared her affection, her love.
Finally, she has come around and has declared her affection and love for Wendy Richter, which I thought was well overdue. But
she makes Tony Khan look more uncomfortable than sitting at a press conference with CM Punk eating pastry.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But eventually, Toni Storm is going to lose. Toni Storm is not going to be the women's champion. And when that happens, there is zero steam off of the timeless Toni Storm character at that point.
Yeah.
That will just continue right on just as good as it has.
Yeah.
If you want to put her back on the chase for the title again, fine. We've seen that already.
The sequel.
The sequel, stick
the
with
timeless
the
classic too.
Yeah, that's
the remake.
Perfect. But honestly, and that doesn't. There are very few people right now, and very few champions that don't lose steam when their title run is over. It's kind of like they've been on the hunt, on the chase, the build up, they win, they keep the title for a while, and then they lose, and then they kind of fade back a little bit, or take a step back or two to some other people. But Storm does not. There is none of that with Toni Storm. The only one I can think that has a similar type of pull or a similar type of work around her is Chris Jericho. Anytime that Jericho has lost, gone up, lost the title or anything, loses zero steam, takes a small step back, revamp, changes a few things, comes back and is right back on top. And as much as I hate in general what they've done to the FTW title, yet again, Chris Jericho
for the world,
for the world. Yeah. Oh my God, it's for the world.
GFY. But again, it's Jericho. And obviously it's taken a little bit to get used to this whole learning tree thing now. But goddamn, it's working. And
the thing that I'll say this too, John, when it comes to Jericho is when he's talking on the mic and he's cutting his promos and he's coming like a pompous jackass, and we're going, I can't stand it. Shut the fuck up. You're getting the reaction that he wants.
He's got us. He's got
us in the palm of his hands. Yeah. Like, I can't stand his character and so over the top. But like I legitimately cannot stand this character, and it's working.
Yes,
it's working.
Once again, and again, talk about a guy with gravitational pull. We have seen before the Inner Circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society, even with this little thing with Hook that he did. Now you have Big Bill in the mix. And Big Bill, as many of us know,
all of the matches he came up with, and the vignettes during the pandemic, and just all of that stuff. The Release the Hounds, the feud with Hardy. I remember all that stuff. I mean, it just
the stuff with MJF and singing, breaking into a song.
It just doesn't. It doesn't stop.
It absolutely doesn't.
We could talk for the whole hour about Chris Jericho. How many people he's gotten over just in AEW since he's been in there?
Sure. Yeah, and that and continues. Now it's Big Bill's turn, which again is deserved. But and God knows where this is going to lean now.
Well, he's doing it right away, right off the bat. We're seeing Big Bill. At least the last time he was entertaining was when he was with Enzo. So now he's kind of with that. I'm not saying Enzo, but he's with the little guy. He's Diesel to Shawn Michaels. He's He's
He's with a veteran who's been doing this since he was in Japan in the 90s.
Sure, absolutely. And again, it's one of them things that. And previously with Jericho, when these different, character twists and stuff with him, it doesn't hit you right away. You're not like, oh, okay. It's like, what is he doing? Now what? Man, what is this?
He's constantly evolving. It's amazing.
And at first you're like, man, this sucks. What is he doing? Is it that? But then slowly, all of a sudden you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, like you said, Elder's like, God damn it, I hate it, but damn it, he's doing his work, and I like it because he's making me hate it again, and he's so goddamn good at it. And that's the power of someone like Jericho. And that's something right now that's the power of Toni Storm. And but my
Toni Storm on a smaller level, but the other one in AEW right now that's getting as many people that walk within 10 feet of him over is Christian.
Sure. Christian Cage, like we talked about last week, Mike. And if you didn't, check out our clips on social media because we went into discussion about it. Christian Cage is a dick. He's a giant dick in a turtleneck, but he is the best effing heel in wrestling right now.
Exactly.
Period.
Yes. People go, oh, we can't have a modern day heel because they can't do something. All right. So there's certain words that they don't say anymore, and there's certain ways they treat certain people and women that way anymore. But there's still plenty to get out. There's still plenty to get out. Sure. Can Bully Ray go out in the ring and cut a 1995 Dudley Boy promo like he was in ECW? No. But can Bully Ray go out tonight, dead cold, and make that crowd boo the fuck out of him and hate him?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Same thing. Listen, MJF was able to do that, but listen, the AEW hardcores just they love everything. And listen, I love MJF, but I know that I'd have to boo him if he was doing something dicky. Now it seems like he's coming out as that almost modern day Stone Coldish kind of minus the beer, but like that attitude, that attitude of fuck everybody, but he's not a bad guy now.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, he's trying very hard to be a bad guy, and he does a very good job with it.
Yeah,
it just, but and you're right, Mike, especially with the AEW crowd. No matter what he does, he could literally come out and take a small statue of Edge, set it in the middle of the ring, drop his drawers, and take a big giant dump right on it in the middle of the ring, and the crowd would cheer.
Yes.
So,
so Christian is the heel because no matter what he does, they hate him.
And we know one thing's for sure: Christian will not be getting not be getting any Father's Day cards this year.
Now, Jack Perry is doing a very good job.
Yeah,
very good.
Speaking of, and you just read my mind there, Mike. The Elite.
But
God Almighty!
This is a group that they're getting cheered 1 second, booed the next second, cheered the next second.
Right.
Well, hugging kids to sell their sneakers on me.
But to be honest, the only time they got booed when they were with a arguably a bigger star in AEW, and that was Kenny. When Kenny made his appearance and everything, and then of course they beat him down and flip him off the stretcher and everything else to get the heat, but that was the only time they got booed. Any other time they cheered. Any other time, I mean, sure there are some things in the crowd, but for the most part they're cheered.
When they gave TK the TK driver, I cheered them too. So
a lot of people cheered that as well. But that again, but the thing is while they're seemingly trying, and let's be honest for a second, there's generally I don't call it a problem, but there's a definite issue across all of pro wrestling right now. We do not have definitive heels and faces.
Yeah, except for maybe 2 or 3 if you could find them.
If that, and the problem is you can't always have 2 fan favorites facing each other or in the story with one another, because why? Because you said, Mike, who do we cheer for? Who do we cheer? Who do we boo?
Problem that we have
not right off
with
not
Swerve
right
and
off
Will.
The bat, not unless you're just gonna have the person, the guy be a bad guy. But then that would be like, tell a story, don't
it make us understand and believe why this person all of a sudden, why I shouldn't be cheering this person who I cheered 2 weeks ago. Exactly. Why am I now booing this person? What did they do? Why did they do it?
I just want to go back to the NXT TNA crossover story to talk about. We forgot to just, we would love to see here on NXT. Say his name and he appears. I
Believe in Joe Hendry. But
yes.
again, and that's a possibility as well.
Oh,
that is a possibility. But
that's a good possibility.
But this whole thing with the heels and faces, and many say, oh, well, that's this old. Well, there's a thing
but
about
not.
old.
It
works.
It
works.
doesn't have to be.
It's black hats and white hats. The quote
Listen,
Arn Anderson.
Listen, a little peek behind the curtain. When someone is supposed to be doing something very dastardly and wrong and scumbagish and they're getting cheered, they don't like that because then they feel like they're not doing their job.
Well, that
it's like when The Rock attacked and beat the ass of Cody in the pouring rain in Chicago. When he did that, he got the desired reaction that he wanted.
Got the heat. He got the most heat when he tried to steal the WrestleMania main event match from Cody.
Yes. And we all know how that turned out.
That's right.
Some of us even have some pink robes. Some of us have some pink robes to prove it.
I got my pink robe, man. But and nobody made it. Nobody made it for me. That's my pink robe from Busted Open.
It is. I can verify.
Thank you, Matt.
It is legit. But that's to me that I think that's on one hand, I want to be this bad tough guy, this and that. Everybody would, and it's true. Everybody wants to be the NWO. Everybody wants to be that cool heel, because it's not just about there are very few that legitimately can make you believe that I don't give a shit what you think of me. This is who I am. And if you don't like it,
Christian is the epitome of a heel, because when he's in the ring cutting his promo, he's not giving in or letting the crowd boo him.
Within the span of a few years back then, you went from having definitive, Andre against Hulk Hogan, heel against face. And then all of a sudden,
Savage against Hogan. Savage was the heel.
Within a few years, you had Stone Cold, you had NWO, and you had DX.
Right.
That changed everything, but it didn't have to, because then they were heels, they were faces, they were heels, they were all three of those, right?
Yes. And granted, it was a different time with different contexts and everything, but the just because we're now, well, you can't do that now in this age. Well, no, that's bullshit. The concepts still haven't changed. Bully says old school rules, new school tools. Use the social media. Use
good guy, bad guy.
It still boils down to good guy, bad guy. I like you, but I hate you. Yeah, well, your mother's a whore. Okay, we're gonna fight.
You go back to the Bible, Cain and Abel, brother fighting brother.
Right.
The devil and said, sin is sin and good. It's just
right.
it's good
all
versus
there.
Evil.
And it's, to me, it could be even better now because we are in this new kayfabe.
Yeah.
That you're working the work of the work.
You go back to the Westerns. There's no John Wayne hero if there's no anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like with the Elite, when Elder brought them up and Jack Perry, like the Elite are trying to be this modern day NWO, and taking over AEW, and it's a very cool concept. And
exactly.
And
first, I would bring up a Star Wars analogy, but I never watched Star Wars. So
you suck.
And what the Elite is doing, it's really. I was not a fan of the footage, but ever since the last 5-6 weeks or so, you know what? I was wrong. This was designed to get Perry as a heel, and it's worked.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it really has a more than a bit to me of old school authority, because let's face it, and again, it's life imitating art. Matt and Nick Jackson are EVPs of AEW.
And it was cool because they were like, oh, we're going to hand Jack Perry the TNT title because obviously Adam Copeland is injured out with the torn tibia.
Right.
You know,
he messed up his leg. He's going to be gone for a bit.
And oh, we're gonna hand Jack Perry the TNT belt, and then here comes Christopher Daniels. Oh, by the way, you can't do that. You have to earn this.
I was, I loved it. And again, you're going to see that, and we saw it already, and we're going to see that come up again when Kenny Omega is, whenever he's able to come back and be part of things again and cleared. There's another one. Kenny Omega legitimately is an EVP of AEW. So now
you know what?
have
I just thought about this. What if you have Christopher Daniels and Kenny Omega teaming up together, but with somebody? I don't know who.
Why not?
Don't know who their partner could be, but Christopher Daniels, the Falling Angel, Christopher Daniels, and Kenny Omega are going to team up with somebody to take on the Elite.
Sure.
Maybe it's Darby again. Who knows? Speaking of Darby, that man crazy, coming out with a freaking flamethrower and he's on fire, literally. Who would have thought that a wrestler would be set on fire during Anarchy in the Arena?
Well, I think Marks is still sweating from that flamethrower.
But that's, but again, did the spot itself surprise me? I'm just glad it went okay for everybody, and they seem to do it very safely and everything.
And the car spot caught me off guard too. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
it went better than, it went better than Adam Copeland's jump from the top of the cage.
Yeah, well,
get well soon. Heal up, man.
Adam, yeah. And that's but that's I really don't want to talk about that because Adam Copeland's already been on social media and it's been picked apart to death. Look, no,
I'm not picking on that he did these things happen.
Yeah,
I'm not one of those people say, oh, they're too old. Like when it was for sure every time Sting did a high spot. Look at that. He must be concussed now. He hit his head. It's too old. Why is do this?
Those people that say that, all I have to say to them is obviously you have never watched a PCO match. But anyway.
Speaking of PCO,
not only that, John, back in the day when I first started watching wrestling, all of these guys beating the shit out of each other were all 45 years old.
Yes, they were all just older, big barrel chested tough guys.
That looked like Orange Cassidy or whatever. They were squat. They were that was it. They were just collateral damage.
Famously, ask the Fantastics. We ain't going for the finish against the Road Warriors. You want to think that night sucked for them?
Just as Public Enemy when they got the living shit kicked out of them by the APA.
Yes.
We're not doing the table spot. Okay, you're not. We're going to beat the fuck out of you.
But again, when you start talking about, they should be, it doesn't matter who or what. I mean, put it this way. Adam Copeland jumped off the top of that cage on his own thing. It wasn't like, I'm just going to freelance it. Pretty sure he had the idea in his mind and everything for that spot. And unfortunately, this isn't ballet. This isn't, it's as Paul Heyman said, this is the beautiful, violent art of professional wrestling. It's violent.
That's
Things
right.
happen.
That's right.
People get hurt, and they're like, but it's fake. Yeah, okay. Go look at Adam Copeland X-ray. Tell me that's fake. But anyway, what I
listen, there's a few people that sat up, and there's a famous clip on Bill Maher show where Rowdy Piper educated him. There's plenty of shows.
There's been lots
and
of
there's even Mr. T and Hulk Hogan dropping Richard Belzer on his head.
Right.
And then slapping him back awake.
But so
it was a good payday for payday for him. It was.
But I never quite understood where, and this again, what really irks me sometimes, and it shouldn't, especially about the IWC and so-called reporters and insiders. You've never been in the ring. You've never taken a bump. You've never made a move. You've never done anything that even hints that you have any sort of training or any idea really on how it goes. And we're in the same way. We're all fans. We have some more knowledge than others in some ways. But again, I've never taken a bump. I've never, been thrown off the road. I've never
just like movies. Those who can't act become critics.
Critics, and that's the whole thing. Is and how can you sit there,
John? Vince McMahon wakes up. He woke up every day. Started working out like 3 a.m. and shit, and going all day long. That man did the billionaire strut up the steps and blew out both hamstrings.
Right. So. But
these guys, if they pulled it, come on, just stop.
Yeah, and that's again, and then they have the
just don't use the word botch. Don't use the botch word. Don't use botch or this one's dangerous or
right. How
this
do you
wrestler
know?
injures people.
Right.
And there's certain ways you can say, okay, you know what? I'm not saying that there aren't people that have been in the business that were dangerous or reckless, but they just throw that stuff out. And there's Nia's gotten that heat from internet trolls, and Seth Rollins has gotten that heat. There's a few people out there that have gotten that heat.
Let's get away from the negative because my rant's over on that. Let's talk about a few more positives this week. And it's funny that you just mentioned her name because I absolutely think it's a positive coming out of this week. Queen Nia Jax.
Yo, when she finished off Lyra, man,
I thought she was dead.
That was the most brutal finisher, and I gotta say, I'm liking when she crosses her arms, Yokozuna style for the pin. That's a very good.
Well, everything counts.
Appreciate when a wrestler gives someone in the past a nod.
Yeah, a nod. And again, everything counts.
And talking about Queen of the Ring for a second as well, Gunther and Orton, what a hell of a match.
Yeah, and we got a story coming out of that. And we got a story coming out of that. But I think, and I wasn't 100% sure coming out of the Queen of the Ring with Nia, but after her appearance last night on SmackDown, and the promo and everything she cut and the look, dude, I am now 100. Yes, this is going to be some of Nia's best work and at any time in WWE going forward with this. I absolutely think they have hit a home run with making Nia Jax Queen of the Ring. Regardless if it ends up with her with the title run or not, it's going to be
Gunther
very good.
Being the king of the ring. He fits the part.
Perfect.
He's not the typical, I'm a king. No, he is the ring general.
Can I interrupt for a second and say hi to Jamie Cartwright out there in the chat? She says, howdy, Nations Corner, represent, giving the horns up.
Right.
And so what is the state of the Nations Corner Discord server? It's there. Go check out the Nations Corner. Check out the links on YouTube on any of our pages, and the link to the Discord server is there. Please, everyone is welcome to join. We have discussions about everything on there. We try to keep it positive. Sometimes we get a little drama on there, but that's okay. It happens. But we try to keep everything positive and try to keep a nice positive chat going on in there about wrestling, all wrestling. Go in there. If you listen to Busted Open and watch our show, go in there and promote both because we love both and we love wrestling. Thanks. Back to you, Steve.
Right.
And talking about last night on SmackDown, AJ Styles pulling a Mark Henry. And Mark Henry was watching that last night. Super proud. And he coming out there. Right. Oh yeah, I was
he did all right with it. He did all right, and sure the reactions were missed. Speaking of the Discord server, I was in the Discord server with a bunch of fans last night, the WWE channel going this on, and we all had to say, "Oh, this isn't legit. It's going to be the Mark Henry salmon jacket swerve, this and that." And yeah, you kind of got that figure or what. But you really don't know until you see it, and then of course you see it, and like I knew it was going to happen. Okay, but still the lead up to it and everything, and it absolutely works. Granted, now there is a portion of us, especially us older fans, that remember and saw live in real time the Mark Henry John Cena promo and
that was
the
so
Savage
good.
Jacket moment, and that came, but nobody was expecting that.
Nobody.
No.
Henry was in legitimate tears.
He didn't call. Like he called Cody out to the ring.
Right.
Mark Henry came out to the ring, didn't he? Didn't he come out, or did he call John Cena out to the ring like that too?
I can't.
But
remember.
It was out of nowhere. Mark Henry didn't go walking around saying,
Henry had tears in his eyes. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. And then he said to my wife, to my daughter, to my son, "I'm coming home." And then World Power Slam, boom.
Right,
swerved everybody.
But that burned in like I said before we went on the air. Ever since that, I'm like, how dare you, Mark Henry? I trusted you, and you broke my heart like that. How dare you? I will never trust.
All right, so the
name Mark, the color salmon, or a jacket again, ever. And
the line to take back from that was when the fan yelled, when he goes, "Baby,
Young," he said, "No,
baby, I'm
coming
home."
Young.
And then the fan says to Mae Young, "No, not to Mae Young, you dummy."
True. All right, couple more positives coming out of this week.
And John Bay, I believe you're right. Yes, AJ's baby blue jacket was a tip of the hat to Mark's salmon jacket, definitely, especially since Mark is back in with the WWE again.
Well, he is no longer with AEW.
He's no longer with AEW.
Take that as you will. But yeah. A few more positives. Going back to NXT. Very late in NXT this past Tuesday night. They've had this wonderful storyline going between Trick Williams and Last Legend of Metaphor, and who attacked Noam, who attacked this and that. Well, we finally got our answer. And who was that? That guy. Wasn't he on AE? No, don't say that. It was all ego. Ethan Page. Karate Man is back at WWE.
Karate Man
is working and in NXT, and again, huge surprise nobody knew about. I mean, we were all pretty much aware. Ethan Page's contract had expired at AEW. He was free agent. He had even started taking some various independent bookings around, but
is he signed to NXT? Because he said he isn't signed. Said
if he's on TV, that kind of tells you who is. Yeah. Now it might be like
he could be pulling our legs on the social media.
To be quite honest, and it has happened before.
And wait a second, how did we not even think of this? Because we were talking about him, the NXT TNA crossover. We may get a reunion of the North.
Absolutely, you bring in the walking weapon, Josh Alexander.
Oh,
I want to see. I just want to see Karate Man back again.
Yes,
that's all.
And talking about Jordan Grace, you brought up PCO. Mm-hmm. What if he shows up in this? You want to call it? I mean, anything's possible.
Well. Let's be honest. Let's be honest for a second, though, Stephen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's all cool, but dude, the French Canadian Frankenstein is in love. The man is smitten. Who knew he had a heart? Who knew he had these emotions? The man is absolutely smitten with one Steph DeLander. And I love wrestling love stories. They are always so much fun. I still
piss off old man though.
Hey man, things happen. I still say the greatest wrestling love story ever told is not Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, but Tommy Dreamer and Beulah McGillicuddy. So but it works, and it's fantastic because these are two absolutely different people, and those of us that are very familiar with Steph DeLander, especially her work in GCW and in the Indies and stuff, you know this is going to end bad if they go anywhere along those storylines. It's going to end badly, but we're all in to see it, and we're all here to say, "Oh, look at this." You know, forget the fact that PCO is probably old enough to be her grandfather, but
yes.
We're suspending disbelief. The big man is in love, and I'm here for it, and I love it. But again, you know,
we're not suspending disbelief. It's a bunch of old farts like us dreaming.
Well, hey, whatever it is, again, hats off TNA. It's absolutely working. It's going to be one hell of a summer with what we have going on in wrestling again, you know, and there's been some chatter about it, especially after, you know, the wonderful WrestleMania we had in Philadelphia, that you know, the WrestleMania hangover. But no, we've had two really solid overseas PLEs from WWE, and still seeing consistent on the weekly programs that there's absolutely no slowing down afterwards. You know, AEW is consistently making efforts to do things and make things better there. Their pay-per-views continue to be so entertaining, so good. A little long, 6.5 hours is
last week was so freaking long.
You know, good thing most of us were off Monday.
Yeah, John Bay is right. We want to see Nick Nemeth do the crossover and have a match against Dolph Ziggler. That's what I want to see.
That'd be fantastic to see. Again, anything is possible. But you know, we're going into the summer with everything that, you know, that we have SummerSlam coming up. You know, we have Forbidden
Clash
Door
at the Castle happening in a couple
Clash
of weeks.
At the Castle. Again, it's so hot, and it's
dude.
there's so much to enjoy.
I see Nick Nemeth doing this, and then finally coming back to the WWE and actually doing what everybody, you know, every smart fan wanted for all these years, even though Nick was making money hand over fist.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we want to see him come in and actually what we want him to happen come to fruition, you know? Sure. That would be sweet if he came back and did a Drew McIntyre. Kind of not.
Yeah,
really, he wasn't fired. He
just left.
He did everything he could have done there, but that's what I mean. You know, he's only gone there. Who knows?
Everything in that. If we have not learned anything
is possible now. Because you
know, nothing.
Expect the unexpected in wrestling these days.
You know, to steal the line from Sam Roberts, everything counts, everything matters, and enjoy the product. And that's really all we have to do and all we've been doing, and look how much we have to enjoy across all wrestling, regardless of what you like or anything. And you say, "Oh, I hate that." Shut up. Just shut up. It's all very good.
I'm just so grateful that there's more products for the guys and the gals to go work, because that gives everybody opportunities to go wrestle wherever they want to go. The independent scene,
so much,
WWE, AEW, TNA, the whole 9 yards. Like there is work for everybody.
The independents that put on shows at least once a month in everyone's area.
Right. Absolutely. The last thing I want to touch on before we get out of here, before we get yelled at again for going off the rails. But again, in our defense, we were left unsupervised. Remember that I said that.
Yes.
Today is June 1st. And also, besides being the first day of June, it is also the first day of Pride Month. And Pride and being supporters and allied of the Pride folks and the LGBTQ community is very important to us here at the Nations Corner. Absolutely. We have loved ones, members of families that are LGBTQ. And we just want anyone out there to know, if you are, we love you. We accept you for who and what you are. absolutely be proud. Do not be afraid. If you need a sympathetic ear or hand to help you through, reach out to us. Let us know. We are 100% allies. And especially in these very difficult times we're facing, folks, be considerate that there are people struggling with these problems and struggling with these identities of trying to let them be. Put it simply, folks, don't be a dick. Stop it. Stop it. It's 2024. Be better. Even if you don't understand or want to question, and I don't care if it's a question of your morality, your faith, whatever, just stop. Stop. Look at people for people and understand that, this could be your son, your daughter, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, aunt, uncle, whatever you want to say in your family. Would that change anything of how you feel? And the answer more than likely is no. So again, it's Pride Month. We absolutely have to make sure that these people know that they are included, they are loved, they are supported. And if you can't do that, step away from the conversation. Just step away from the conversation and sit over in a corner. And that's where you'll stay, because we are all moving forward to a better way, and you can be left behind.
Just be nice to everybody, except fucking Steven. If you ever meet him, treat him like a piece of shit.
Well, you can make all kinds of rude gestures in front of Steven, and he'll never know. So
how do I know
if I'm flipping him off?
We love our Steve, man. We
do.
You know what? He is the man. Love you, man.
Absolutely. Steven has always been a good brother and will be. So on that note, Steven, since you're the man of the second here, why don't you let the folks know where they can get you on social media and all the other good stuff?
If you want to get a hold of me, you can find me on the old Twitter machine at Steven_Wind. And you can also find me every single Tuesday on YouTube for our Nation Sports Show, where we are live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Be sure to follow. Be sure to follow our Nation Sports Show on Twitter at ON_Sports Show and Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And like I said, YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, thank you guys for having me again tonight.
Way to go, Mr. Clutch. Way to go.
We had fun with Clutch, man. He is clutch and he's ready. He's ready to go all the time.
Mongrovian, what about you?
Listen, just Mongrovian Mike. That's it. I'm here every week practically, unless I'm at a local show. Just look for me on the social media. That's it. I'm listen to Busted Open every day. Watch and subscribe to our YouTube.
Soon to be grandpa. We're in the double-digit day countdown.
Yeah, come to the. Yeah, I am going to be a grandpa. Okay, on a personal note, I'm going to be a grandpa by the end of June. My daughter was going to get a cesarean, but then the things moved around in there, and she was able to. Now the doctor says we're going to have it au natural, the way it's the way you want
going the real way. They're going to stuff a Saint Bernard through the cat door.
Little baby Steven will be here by the end of this month, man. When we can't wait. Nana and Papa are waiting, and Mommy and Daddy are waiting. And we just can't wait. And on another personal note, since my surgery, I'm down over 100 pounds now.
Good for you, brother.
Yes.
Good
awesome.
for you.
Awesome.
I'm down to a size 42G. I think I haven't been a size 42 since I was like in 6th grade. So no.
You can wear corduroy again.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Too much, yes.
Very
but
cool.
That's about it, man.
Okay.
And,
thank you for that personal update as well. And I, of course, as it says on the screen there, I am at John in South Jersey at Twisted Metal Fab on the Instagram and the Twitter. And of course, keep up with the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in professional wrestling. Of course, I am talking about the infamous AK-9K, the Ass Kicker 9K. You can follow on Instagram at Ass Kicker 9K, and stay tuned. Breaking news. Is there a version 3 of AK-9K coming? Is there? You'll have to stay tuned and find out. But maybe there are some things working on in the lab that soon there may be a yet more an improved version of AK-9K being unleashed upon the world shortly. So stay tuned. And on that note, for Michael, for Stephen, and myself, we thank you all for joining us here tonight on Nations Corner, live on a Saturday night. And enjoy wrestling, folks. And we will see you all next week.